Question. I recognize the member for Oshawa.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and my question is to the Minister of Long-Term Care. Minister, people are terrified that a for-profit long-term care home like Southbridge's Orchard Villa in Pickering, a building where nearly 80 people died of COVID, could be awarded a 30-year license extension, 30 years of public money locked in, and 89 new beds. 30 years is a generation of seniors. A lot of folks in their 50s, 60s, and 70s will be stuck with this profit-driven bad deal during their golden years, and that includes a lot of folks in this room. Devastated families continue to come to Queen's Park to beg and plead for long-term care supports, for resources, and for justice. There is no justice in awarding a Southbridge home like Orchard Villa. So my question to you is this. Does a home like Orchard Villa deserve a 30-year free pass and license extension? And is it the official policy of this government to award bad actors and turn its back on grieving families?
Minister of Long-Term Care.
Mr. Speaker, this government has been listening to families. This government has been listening to residents. This government has been listening to members of labour unions and leaders of labour unions when it comes to how we approach homes. The home that the member mentioned, that license is currently under review by the independent directorate that looks at that. And, Mr. Speaker, the government also has listened to some of the concerns from families about the fact of whether that process should be looked at constructively, so that there can be an opportunity for appeal. But I'll speak more about that later today. Mr. Speaker, we are making sure that beds are being built. We are making sure that there is accountability. In the region of Durham, where the member comes from, Mr. Speaker, of the 611 net new beds that were built, less than 100 of them, Mr. Speaker, were built there. We have plans to build 1,097 beds in Durham, including in Oshawa, Mr. Speaker, upgrade 703 beds. So, Mr. Speaker, that's what we're about, getting something done, protecting seniors, delivering quality care.
Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Minister, people have no faith in this government or its intentions where long-term care is concerned. Families of Orchard Villa report that things are just as bad as they ever were, and we all know what the Canadian Armed Forces reported. The horrors that happened behind those walls and many others must not be rewarded. Speaker, this minister was interviewed recently on radio, and when asked specifically about Orchard Villa and public calls for action, casually told the public on the air that hopefully people will see, quote, the new building. What new building? The new building awarded along with a 30-year license for a for-profit, historically problematic long-term care home? Has the minister already made the decision, and is this, as seems clear by his own words, a done deal? Will Orchard Villa be rewarded with a 30-year license renewal, a free pass, and a shiny, new, expanded building with 89 new beds in the wake of such a terrible, ongoing nightmare?
And the Minister of Long-Term Care.
Mr. Speaker, and I don't want to make any assumptions, but I might assume, and the member correctly, that she may or may not have been to Orchard Villa. I have. Myself and the Minister of Finance, whose riding it is, visited Orchard Villa 6:30 one morning. One of the things about my unannounced visits, I do them at different times of the day because you learn more when you travel with an inspector then. And Mr. Speaker, what the member, and I know that she's a compassionate person, but may not appreciate, is when rhetoric like that and we talk like that, the people who hear that as well are the staff working there. That's right. The staff that are working hard to protect those residents. The staff that are there at 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning. They're at 6:30 and 7 o'clock at night. Mr. Speaker, we're not going to throw them under the bus. We're not going to throw residents or families under the bus. We're going to make sure that they are protected. We're going to make sure that the rules are in place to make sure that there is accountability, and we're going to make sure that the facilities are new and state of the art. Thank you.